Well, hello again everyone. Friday the 31st of March. Uh, what a difference a day makes. Got back from Lanzarote last night, hoping to be all keen and get on with something out in the back garden. Spring here, all of the crack. I got myself all energised to come home to just rain, drizzle, grey skies, and I'll just have a look at the temperature with you. About 8 degrees. So a bit deflating. Pond not doing too bad. It must have been warmer when I was away. 11.5. Oh. So, like I say, a bit deflating, but to be honest, I've got a long weekend. I need to get stuff changed around ready for spring because my work commitments are just going to be through the roof as usual. So any spare time I get, I need to sort of do what I want to do. So we're just going to have to work through the rain. It's only a bit drizzle. Us northern lads are used to it. I want these balls off as soon as possible. Its temperatures are holding out alright for it. I don't think we're going to get any dramatic changes now. Touch wood. Hopefully. The other reason, without a UV on, my water clarity has gone absolutely pants, and I can't actually see what's really going on anymore now. So getting towards that time of year where potential problems will start with the water warming up, I want them off so I can see what's going on with the fish and put my own mind at rest exactly how they've come out of winter. So over the next couple of days, well, I've got this long weekend, that's what we'll be doing. Look at that. Acer tree coming back. Fantastic. What surer sign of spring. So, as you've seen previously, I'm going to do some adaptations to this filter. I've just been cleaning it out, ready. I'm going to do something slightly different. Because I need to get the UV going again, and the UV light is located inside the waterfall return. So the only way I can do that for me is to switch the system back on, going from pumping out the clean end of this sieve up into this nexus. We'll then fill this nexus with K1 for now and have that bubbling away as you would expect in a nexus. I am going to put the new DIY trident that I've been working on in there, see how we'll go on with that. It does follow on after a drum filter, so it won't block up easy. Not worried about that. I've got micro K1 that I've put in it, so that'll work for me. If it doesn't, it'll sharp let us know. Then obviously water goes from that nexus underneath the decking. For those that's seen in the past, we then have sort of DIY Bakkie river system under there, which then returns to the waterfall and back to the pond. So for me to do that, what I want to do is clean all this run out that I need to do from the pipework, the nexus, pipework, Bakkie river system, waterfall. I'm going to clean that and PP it, leave that overnight, so that system's good to go. Everything cleaned off that was lingering in there over the winter. Had a good strong PP dose before we put it back into play again for the summer. Right, I'll just cut now to a little video I made before I went on holiday of me messing around with the old Easy to make the DIY trident, and I'll show you what I've done with that. Also, big shout out to Jamie from Keeping It Coy, who was keeping me entertained while I did it on the telly. Hope he doesn't mind me having him up there. But we're all friends now, I suppose, so why should he? Thanks, Jamie. Right, everyone, so here I am, trying to do an attempt of a DIY version of the Trident filter. Also just currently watching the Eden Grown Show, filmed by Jamie from Keeping It Coy. So looks a fascinating place, that Coy water barn. I'll have to try and get there one time myself. So really enjoying that. I'll just mute them for now. Right, so what I've done, I've got me old Easy out of the Nexus 200. I'll give it a good clean. There's just some watermark staining on it, but it's nothing really. It's had a good scrub down now. I've cut myself a piece of pond liner to the right size I needed. I needed about 440mm by 1m 300, and that wraps around just nicely. So I'm gonna wrap it round, I'm gonna tie wrap it on, and we'll see what that looks like. Right, that's the first tie wrap there on. As you can see, it's quite easy, just straight round. So I'll get the next couple on, then we'll tidy it up, and then we'll see where we're at from there. Right, so that's that. It took 3 of these 550mm tie wraps put round together to make it long enough to reach all the way around. So I'm just gonna tidy them up, cut them back, and then see what I'm gonna do with this sort of rough edge on the top, because that just looks a bit cheap and rough. So see if I can make that look a bit better. Right, so what I've decided to do is, with the liner, I'm going to fold it down onto the stainless steel edge, and then I've got this door seal that's left off a job I was doing at work. It has like a ridge in it, so that will nip nicely as you nip it along all of the edge, and it'll just create a nice finish like sort of that, and hold everything in place across the top. So I'll do that, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Right, that's done now. So the door seal on around the perimeter edge gives a nice sort of neat finish. So quite happy with that. I looked on Facebook Marketplace, and someone was selling a trident for £260, I think, which I think they probably are a good bit of kit. But when you've already got the guts of it easy anyway, to trial a bit of pond liner and some tie wraps around it, and I will get myself some K1 micro to try inside. You see, hopefully then we'll have the flow come up through the bottom of the filter, not through there, but through the grids. It'll have to then track all the way up through the media before it overpours back down into the outlet. yeah, why not? Let's give it a try. And I look forward to giving it a go. I need to get some silicone, and I'm just gonna put a bead of silicone in this edge, keep the line nice and tight to each other, so that won't be a problem. I just haven't got any koi grade silicone yet. And big thank you to Jamie from Keeping It Koi, keeping us entertained while I've been just working on this little project. Grab yourself a right bargain. Someone give him an easy pod, so he'll have fun setting that up for on his system. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Move on to the next step. Right, so as you've just seen, I've knocked up a relatively easy version of a DIY trident for now. Like I say, if it doesn't work, what was it? Some pond liner, a couple of tie wraps, K1 micro that I'll use elsewhere. So, willing to try it out, let everyone know how it works. It should be interesting. I'm going to put the K1 micro in that we're just getting. I've been dreading opening that bag ever since I bought it, but it's done now. So let's try not to get that absolutely everywhere. And I'm not filming as trying to put it in, because then it will. So I'll get back to you when it's done. Well, that's now in there, and you'll be pleased to know I didn't spill one piece. Honestly. Now, give you a quick look. So there we have it. The bag I got was a 50 litre bag. I've put just, say, under half a bag in there. I think that's probably a bit more than I need, but I'll take some out easy enough, he says, if I need to. So that's that stage now done. Right, so while you've been away, what have I been up to? Cleaning out whatever was in the Bakkie river. So a lot it doesn't, as you can see, I've got these covers that cover over all of the chambers. They're just a pond liner. You just want to show you there on a bit of pipe, and they just simply roll back, keeping all of the rain and off run out of the chamber when it's all on nice and tight. So I just thought this would also be a good time to sort of run through a bit more in depth the Bakkie river system. So what I do, the return water from both nexuses, when it's running in its full summer mode, comes into this chamber. We're then going to fill this chamber with, I think now, the mountain tree lotus media that we got. I'm going to sort of dangle it in there on just pipe, free hanging down. It'll look like a bit of a nuclear core reactor with the rods dangling in it, but I think it'll work quite well. That's my new thoughts for that. Then in this one, the old vortex that comes off that blue one, we'll use the biohouse media in there that I currently have inside of the sieves, which act as me biological chambers through the winter. And then in this final one, we have the inlet, the 4-inch inlet from the vortex, which then is returned to the waterfall by these two 4-inch pipes, which sort of draw off the bottom. But when it comes out of that 4-inch inlet from the vortex, so when it's flowing this way, it goes through first one of my original filter I bought around 20 years ago, I think, for the first pond I ever had, and this was all I had on that pond. It was a Biotech 10. I've now butchered it, modified it, and made it a bit of a final stage polisher for whatever manages to make its way through the whole system. Shouldn't be much now, but fines will just travel through anything until they all meet up together, and you'll be surprised, you'll never get rid of them totally. What our class is fines anyway, sometimes it's just sludge of green water gathering together. But anyway, so comes through here. Bloody hell, don't know what happened there, never mind where we were. Right, it comes through here and then goes through the old sponges, but I did get new ones to replace, so I'll just put them in and I'll show you that. No, there's one sitting so you can see. So yeah, through the 4-inch intake, has to go then over, down through the sponges, which then comes through the centre, and then leaves the chambers by the bigger outlet holes I've got on the side and on the bottom. So again, had an old filter, didn't want to throw it away, modified it a bit, put it to good use. This then, just simply the 4-inch pipe connects straight into the tank connector on there. So I'll put that in place and we'll go from there. Right, so that's in there nicely now, as you can see, connected through. Water has to come in through the sponges, then comes out of the sponges out to the side, and also the underside. It's a bit dark, I understand, but you get the idea. The underside is raised up on legs, so it's nothing gathers underneath the bottom. And then what we'll do is add some of these cages I made, just with grog in currently. Put one of them on each side, and that just acts as a lot more biological filtration in that chamber. So I'll get them put in now. I'll get the other media put in that I want before we set it away. Right, so here's the mountain tree lotus root bacteria house XL2. Here's a newer version out, I know, but it's quite pricey actually compared to this one, so I was happy enough for what I needed to do with it to use the older one. So I'm going to get the tags cut off, scissors in hand, and go from there. Right, so as you can see, grog cages back in there with the sponges. The biohouse media, which has been maturing, well, maturing's probably the wrong word, but keeping going over winter in the winter bio chambers, will then go right in there. And then the first stage, as we talked about, is going to be the new mountain tree lotus chamber. So they're just temporarily set up in there for now, but eventually I'm going to dangle them in on some tube, so they'll just be dangling free in the water hopefully, and be easy to clean, shake them off, might even rig some air to them to blast them with air every now and then. So that's my options for now. That's just a run through of the Bakkie river system before it then turns to the waterfall which is where the UV light's in there, and then back to the pond. Right, so we're starting to pump pond water back into the Nexus now through the DIY trident, which seems okay at the minute. It's handling the load of water. You can see the water is just pea green. Bits of debris leaves are still coming through the Nexus of the pipework I couldn't get to, but it doesn't matter, it's all getting PP'd anyway. This is just a flush out really. Chamber filling, as we said, so that seems to be alright. Just making its way into the vortex now. I'm actually just going to quickly put the hoover on and catch some of the crap that's coming through before it gets into the next chamber. Okay, all still going well, so it's filling up now. Vortex is nearly full. That will just breach any second now, he says. There we go. Then into the spongers. Through the spongers. Finding its way out. And then, as we'll see, it's then back into the waterfall chamber where the UV light is. Right, I'm just going to leave that there for the night. As you can see, I've got the PP in now. Got a small flow, just enough to keep the PP circulating through the system. So that's just coming out of the highest level of the waterfall's return. It's slowly just keeping itself trickling through the whole river system. So we'll leave that, just going to leave that on overnight. Come back to it, give it a good flush out in the morning, and then we'll just leave that there for the night because I've got a mess to tidy up out here and the wife wants to get the tea on. So that's what I'll do until I get back to you. Bye for now. Right everyone, Sunday 2nd of April, as you can see the waterfall is running again. It's strange hearing it again, to be honest, because it's been so quiet out here, so you get used to the noise of it constantly going again. Hopefully the neighbours don't mind too much. They've never complained yet, so fingers crossed. I'll spin you around and show you what we've been doing. So, as mentioned, the fish so far seem alright, but because the UV has been off so long, the water clarity is just pants. So that just went on last night, the UV, so we'll give it a chance to see if it's going to turn things round. The bulb has been in, it's an amalgam bulb, I believe an 80 watt submergible amalgam. Now the bulb's been used for 2 seasons now, so I need to see whether it's got enough life left in it to do its job, or we'll have to look to replace it, which I'm not looking forward to because those bulbs aren't cheap. So we'll see if over the next couple of days if this clears, and then we'll make the decision whether a new bulb is needed or not. So I say Sunday, 2nd of April. Temperatures still crap, haven't changed much. It will be interesting to follow as well, because I'm hoping I don't get any sudden temperature changes. But without the balls on, it's really well, it's at 10. Without the balls on and the waterfall running from the system at the back, we'll see what the temperature does in the pond. Right, we'll just go and have a look at how the modification to the Nexus is held up overnight. So, there we are. Open well. My worry was it would overflow out of there. It blocked up too quick, but it's lasted from yesterday afternoon until this morning. Okay, so I'm probably going to actually just lower the water level in here, because it's running a little bit high now with that in. So that's easy enough to do. I just need to adjust that outlet pipe, put that down a bit further, and that'll give us a bit more time in there should that blog up. It shouldn't blog up too bad for me, to be honest, because it does. This follows on after the drum filter, but we'll just monitor it and I'll let you know in future videos if that's given us any issues or not. Right, so yesterday we mainly netted the balls off the pond, which is easy enough. Seen us do that before, just with a net. The winter bio chambers are still going, as the bio in the Nexus at the back has got 0 bacteria on it. So these are just keeping everything in play until I mature the media in the Nexus. What else did we get on with yesterday? So took the balls off. We took all of the PP obviously out of this end of the system. That was pipework, Nexus, pipework, Bakkie River, all that got a good flushing out, which is now why it's back in play. Then we went on to my project for this. So spring, summer, hopefully in my free time, where my filter house is going to become a quarantine hospital chamber if needed, part of it. So as you can see in there now, because there's 2 filters and this vat will stand idle over the winter with water sitting stagnant in this and stuff, it's all getting a good PP in through. So PP just pumped out of the vat through the 300, returned into the 200, back into the vat, and that's just been continuously doing that overnight. So that'll be all squeaky clean for us when I need to put this back into play. But what I'm going to do is give myself the option of this vat in the Nexus 200 to become a quarantine stroke hospital tank. That will be something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I just need to find the time to do it. But from now on, touch wood, all my new fish will be coming to me. I'll quarantine them myself in here, and that'll just eliminate any further problems that I could add to my stock in my own pond, which really, if everyone's going to take this hobby seriously, then that's a quarantine system of your own. If you've got the room to do it, is a great little advantage. So that's what we'll look to do this year. So all my fish now come from the Yoshikigoi koi farm in Poland, which was selected for me out there. We do this mainly because Yoshikigoi have a KHV, CVC and CEV free status at source. So all of the main nasty problems you could bring to your pond and your stock from source, you haven't got them, any risk of them. They then go straight from the farm into a quarantine facility where they are quarantined there for 4 to 6 weeks, I believe, and then delivered directly to myself. But as an extra measure, I am going to quarantine my own stock, or new fish should I say, before I put them in with my stock. This will just help me rest the fish, check them for parasites, treat everything if I need to in a smaller volume of water, a more controlled environment, and we might even look at putting a source of heat on this as well once this space is able to be fully enclosed. So if I have to treat anything like infections or anything I really need to raise the heat at that wrong time of year, it'll be a lot easier for me to do so. The main 300 will stay in play as part of the main system of the pond. So all that happens there is when the water is pumped from the bottom up here, it's currently pumped into the 300, it leaves the 300 here, there is a T valve down there. If I just open the 4-inch ball valve on there, anything leaves the 300 just simply goes back to the pond. Then I will just isolate the intake to the 200 from the 300 and independently pump feed the 200 to keep this a separate environment. So yep, that's the plan for that. I'm just going to get on now and hook up the air pump to the Nexus I've been working on, so I can get that maturing ready for the coming season. I can see the tip of my shadow. The sun has got out now, which is rare up here in the northeast, but even the sun will shine up here. So that'll probably be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching again, and I'll see you on the next one.